Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jerry from People Matters, and we're back with another exciting webcast session in partnership with Skillsoft. Our topic for today is designing the learning roadmap, JSW's journey from challenges to impact. So, introducing learning programs at a large scale in an established company is a major challenge, but it's also an opportunity to create value for the people and the organization. JSW is India's leading business conglomerate and it's growing at an exponential pace both in India and overseas. The group is embarked on a learning transformation journey across the company. So, in this exclusive webcast, you will learn about how the company leveraged e learning tools to bridge the skills gap, how JSW embarked from a learning transformation journey, how they built the business case for it, how to overcome implementation challenges, and how to align individual goals to the organization, and what is the impact and how to measure success. So, joining us today to share this journey is Ajanta Chatterjee, who is the head of learning, leadership, and talent development at JSW. We also have with us Falguni, who is the AGM of employee engagement, DNI, and digital learning at JSW. We also have with us Snehal Power, who is the customer success manager at Skillsoft. So we have saved time for you to ask questions at the end of this webcast. For those of you who are joining us live, you can simply post questions at any time during this session in the comment section. That's on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will try to respond to as many questions as time allows. So we have an exciting topic ahead of us. Without any further delay, let me invite Ajanta to take over. Over to you, Ajanta.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think we will try to cover as much as possible. All HR professionals and learning and development professionals who is attending the session today, you all know that this is a topic where, we can keep on discussing as much as we want and as for as long as we want. However, keeping the time in mind, we will keep it very precise and concise, and we will concentrate only on the online learning journey, which we partnered with Skillsoft at JSW, and what was the genesis and where we are today. And why do we call it one of our success learning intervention at JSW? As the first slide is talking about, it is from challenges to impact. One of the first and foremost goal with which we started the learning and development journey at JSW was with the organization growing at a very, very fast pace. If you read all the news articles which is out about JSW, you will hear about acquisitions happening, our production capacity increasing at every plant location. And our thought was, how do we match the capability and the nimbleness and the agility of the employees with the growth plan within our organization, and how fast we can do that. While we very, very strongly believe in a blended learning approach where equal importance is given to the classroom as well as online, but how to go to the maximum, how to maximum leverage the online learning platform which we have. And that was the genesis of the thought. The way we will structure this talk is I will set the context. Falguni will take through the various interventions which we had done during the journey to sustain the interest level of the employees and to get them onboarded. And then Snehal will talk about how we measured the effectiveness. Because as you know, with invested amount, there's always a question from business that, tell us how it is effective and why should we continue this journey year on year. Going to the next slide, which would talk little bit about, I just spoke about the organization agility and this whole platform we call JSW Learning Academy, where we have various portfolios. We have Harvard Management, or we have Skillsoft courses. We have Steel Academy courses, which are technical courses for steel making. And then we will also have our safety and our POSH programs, and Falguni will talk in detail about that. talk in the next slide very briefly about our strategy. Why do we do the things we do? The if you see the yellow one, or the yellow title on the top, that is what we look out for all the time. What's the external environment? What's a business strategy? What is JSW culture? And what is the transformative technology which business is adopting? And hence, learning has to be equally agile. And on the left hand side of the screen, those are the elements which keep us relevant to the strategy and the business strategy and the growth story of JSW. Rapid growth and expansion, global presence, industry 4.0, automation and digital transformation, intense competition within the sector itself, and also the environmental focus for JSW and the workplace safety. Keeping all these elements in mind, there are four buckets where we plan our learning and development, all our developmental and transformational agenda. We identify the talent pool, which is through a know your talent. Then we build for tomorrow, which is all our learning intervention, which we currently do at JSW. Build a culture of engagement, and then manage career and growth. So identify, develop, deploy, and engage. And all this results in building pool of agile leaders to shape and execute business strategy. So this is in nutshell how we work. The next slide talk about how do we understand what our employees need, and what is relevant for them. So there are four major buckets from where we understand the needs. We So there's a top down and there's a bottom up approach. Top down, we spend a lot of time with our business stakeholders, the senior most leadership at JSW, the business leaders, the CEOs of businesses, understanding what are the capability gap currently in their business, and to meet their business result, what is the kind of capability they are looking at. Then obviously we talk to our HR peers and the learning leads who are again at every business in every plant location, to really deep dive into what is it that they are looking at. Individual employee needs, which come up through the performance management conversation with their managers. We have our high potential assessment, so there's a talent pool need. And then we do our employee engagement survey. There's a lot of things employees speak through that survey: where is needed, what is needed, and then that form a cohesive need assessment for us. And then we bucket it into three main elements of business and function specific skills, then skills which is tuned to personal excellence and managerial excellence. The next slide talks about a little more about the kinds of program which we are currently doing at JSW. As I mentioned, the strategic capabilities, which focuses on deep functional skills and new functional skills. As we are growing into multiple businesses, what kind of business capability is required to run that business? And also, once we shift from one business model to another business model, depending upon what is our go-to-market plan for that particular business, then the new functional skills coming in. One of the examples in steel, which is primarily a B2B business, today we are moving on to paints. JSW Paints was just launched a couple of months ago, which is a completely retail-focused business. And hence, what kind of functional capability is required for employees who are shifting from steel to paints, or new employees who are joining us. Then we also have role-based competencies, based capabilities. What is required for the senior? What is required for the middle? What is required for the junior management? Keeping in mind what they need to deliver at business, and also from their people management perspective. Next, role capability building and capabilities linked to structure changes. This is pretty much with all the banding exercises and the OE exercises which we have within the organization, with the structural changes, what kind of new capability a leader may need. Or if one of our leaders is moving on from one role to another, then what is the next role capability the person may require? And then there are programs which is clustered around that. Leadership capability, again, a lot of focus on mentoring, coaching, and line manager capability, how we can help our line managers to become better people managers. So there's intensive amount of focus there, and we do a lot of work around there. And then last but not the least is the JSW Learning Academy, which we call Learn on the Go, where we are going to spend most of our time today. And what you see on the small box there is all the tools that we have to take learning to the last mile. So we have Percipio, Spark, Steel University, and other MOOCs which I mentioned earlier. So this forms the universe of learning and development at JSW in a nutshell. And with that, I will hand it over to Falguni, who will take you through the various interventions which we had done, especially when it comes to Skillsoft and JSW Learning Academy.
Thank you,
Over to you.
Ajanta. So, yeah, so the learning experience platform at JSW, it's called JSW Learning Academy. It hosts technical courses, behavioral courses, leadership development courses. It also has a lot of business simulations, posh web tutorial, safety online courses it has. We'll go to the next slide. Yeah, so here I will talk about Skills 2020, our initiative, which we had launched last year. This was aligned to the World Economic Forum findings that there are 10 skills which are relevant for a new age learner. For new age learner to imbibe and to shape his or her career. So our chairman and MD also has placed importance on leveraging the breadth of best-in-class industry 4.0, and the some of the courses, or if you know, there are 10 skills which were announced by World Economic Forum. They were like cognitive flexibility, complex problem solving, critical thinking, people management capability, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence. So what we had done is we have identified these 10 skills, and we had let the user or the learner to choose 4 minimum skills to be completed in the year. And it was kind of a quarterly, they had to complete one skill. There were 7 courses which were bundled up under one skill, and those courses were very bite size, 20-minute short courses which any user can access and learn on the fly. So we have also a mobile app, so people can, whether they are in front of a laptop or whether they are, working in shift, they can access this Skills 2020, access these courses and learn and shape their get ready for their next careers. Yeah, so this was department specific program, and D drive is aligned to, so we have identified courses and skills relevant for various corporate functions like sales and marketing, logistics, supply chain. So for example, I'll just take you through one of the brochure, one of the for sales and marketing, we had identified some courses. I'll share that with you. So yeah, for marketing, we had identified some courses, and this was a weekly initiative, and people can learn some of these courses. For example, I'll just give you a brief on, like, for example, for B2B sales and marketing, the courses identified were on product pricing, promotion in the market mix, reaching customers digitally, competitive marketing strategies, using web analytics to increase sales. So these were some of the courses identified for our corporate functions, and it was driven weekly so that people can dwell on the learnings and can practice and keep learning. Now, the next initiative was Bioscope. Bioscope is again, we have identified short videos, for less than 4 minutes videos, and they were mapped against our Skills 2020 the courses and the skills. So every week on Wednesday we will have short 3 to 4 videos, from speakers, from eminent speakers, thought leaders across the globe, and those were mapped against the skills, and people can learn from get that insight from thought leaders across the globe. So this was the initiative Bioscope. Every Wednesday we used to drive this. Now, next slide. So this is one of our successful program, Girls Wanna Learn. So it was introduced by merging learning and development to culture change. The Women's Development Program was highly effective because we leverage the technology to design and equip women leaders on the managerial and leadership skills. And basis the insights from the development centers, we had identified this skills, and we have kind of transposed it on a eight habit calendar to be practiced in 21 days. So this was Girls Wanna Learn. The next initiative. So what were the challenges in implementing the e-learning strategy? So the major challenge was creating a mind share, getting the buy-in and sponsorship from top leaders. The next challenge was employees working in shift across plant locations. So unlike people working in IT industry, we have our maximum learners working in shift across plant locations who are not in front of the IT infrastructure or laptops. And there was also lack of awareness of e-learning platform. So I will say that this was a major change management project when we had launched e-learning, JSW Learning Academy. Why it was a change management? Because people were more used to learn and develop certain skills in a classroom setup, and they had to shift to a kind of digital learning and self-paced environment. There was also difficulty in sustaining the excitement and engagement of learners for online learning. So these were some of the challenges which we have faced while implementing JSW Learning Academy. The next one. So how we have addressed, how we have kind of built and sustained employee, the learners' excitement, and we have kept them engaged throughout, our initiatives and programs. So one was like a key mascot. So we have this idea about how do we link this e-learning initiative or JSW Learning Academy to something which is more relatable to people. So we have identified this, we have created this Aki mascot so that people feel related, and this was one of the promotion campaign. We also had a 4 p.m. contest. So this was more of a quiz contest. We will ask people some questions related to that day course, or that day when we have launched certain program. We ask questions. We have a quiz competition. We had recognized people. We had given some vouchers, coupons to the top winners. To address the IT infrastructure challenge, we have created collaborative learning space and kiosk. For example, there is a library at the plant location, so user can go to that library, access the online resources, and continuously develop himself or herself. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. This was our learning festival and Nukkad Natak, so street play, and this had received humongous response across various quarters, and a lot of people appreciated, and they still recognize Learning Academy with this. They can relate Learning Academy with this street play Nukkad Natak. So we had a group of theater actors visiting various plant locations, and they had set the tone and context of, they had placed importance of e-learning, digital learning, and continuous learning. So that was the message which was delivered through this theater act. And it had, on a day we could get 800 people witnessing this street play and gaining some insights through this theater act. So one success which also, so I'll attribute recognition, continuous recognition, as one of our major uh, success to the whole e-learning journey is continuous recognition program. So at the end of the day, we had identified top 10 learners, and we have recognized them, and we had put their names and photographs on wall of fame. And they were like personally congratulated, thanked by their unit heads. And they had given the vouchers and the token memento personally to the top 10 learners.
So one of the things we want to focus before Falguni explains the next slide, that this is a continuous effort. And if you see, the effort had been reaching out to the employees at the plant location through Nukkar Natak, and figuring out what form will work for the employee depending on their learning pattern, learning agility. So for the corporate group who is sitting in the Bombay office, our online campaign got the largest number of traction. For our plant employees, the Nukkar Natak was a high point. So consistently, innovatively thinking about how we can keep this learning journey on, and to increase the utilization and adoption. Girls Want to Learn and the D Drive is, again, if you recollect, is very function specific and group specific focused learning. So while we created the wider reach by doing 4 p.m. contest, by doing the Nukkar Nataks and the couple of other initiatives, there was some focused learning initiative through the D Drive, where we asked the function heads like the CFO of the company, the CMO of the company, to drive it to their teams, created lot of uh, emailers from them, from their desk, which goes out to their team, and hence the buy-in was much more. The only highlight we wanted to create through so many interventions, or showcasing the so many interventions, is that this is a journey where we have to keep on innovating ourselves. It is not about buying a product and then hoping employees will automatically go onto the website or go onto the platform and start learning, but engaging them continuously and innovatively throughout, so that it becomes the DNA of the organization, with the ultimate focus that without any push, whenever an employee want to learn about any subject deeply, they know that they're ready to go. Platform is there at their fingertip. So these many, and currently also we keep on doing many more, just to keep the engagement alive.
Yeah, so the major success, so the success of having I'll say, for making the e-learning programs and the digital journey more exciting, and if you want users and learners to continuously look for what's more, I'll attribute the success to sharing the deep links in all the communication, in the mailers and newsletters. So when you give deep links in the communication, people can directly access the courses. So that has been one major success, learning, while launching various promotion and campaigns. And yeah, so our approach throughout the learning journey is learn, practice, teach. So learn is learn the personal. So create personalized learning journey with clear linkages to business objectives. And practice, continuously take the feedback from managers, and form habits by having caselets, by quiz competition. So it's a holistic kind of learning and development intervention, and kind of not dysfunctional wherein user is trying to search what is there on the platform. So we create programs, we have promotions around it, programs which are relevant to the personal needs and also aligned to the business objectives, and making it participative, in the sense like users also share their feedback. They are also engaged through various communication and campaigns. We'll go to the next slide. So learn, practice, teach is our framework. Now, what are the benefits that we have experienced? So one is scalability of the platform, because you want the platform to be flexible, and the content is world class. It also makes the learning democratic, because as learning professionals, we know that the nominations, we don't get right kind of nominations for our classroom programs, but here it is open to all. It has wider outreach and flexibility, in the sense that whether you are in front of desktop, or you are learning on the fly, you are in your cars, or you are in your trains, it allows individual learners to use that time meaningfully. And it also has employee engagement, and the positive perceptions of learners has increased by 12%. Our engagement score and the perception on learning and development has increased by 12%. So this is one tangible benefit that we have experienced. Now the next slide. Yeah, so some of our achievements is we have high adoption of 92%. Our course completions is 9 per user in a year. And we have received, best in class Skillsoft award in Perspective 2019. Next slide. Yeah, so now I'll invite Snehal to share some, insights from the effectiveness survey that Skillsoft had launched for JSW learners. So over to you, Snehal. Snehal, can you unmute, please? Snehal, you are on mute. Yeah.
Snehal, you're on mute still. Oh. Snehal, are you able to unmute your microphone? Okay, oh wait. So there is this option right on
No
top.
problem. Then I will take them through the insight
All right. Okay.
finding that we have.
One second.
Before that, I'll get the document ready.
Snehal, there's a small microphone that's crossed out. If you can just try that again. Okay. I don't see any action. All right, great, fantastic.
Hello, are you all able to hear me?
Yes, go on.
I'm so sorry, my Google Chrome frozen. So, am I good to start?
Sure, go on, Sunil. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for waiting. So, I'm just going to share some of the highlights of the impact survey that we did at for JSW Academy. Just to start with, we have known the key challenges that JSW faced. I have myself got an opportunity to meet Ajanta quite a few times during the initial, planning sessions as such, and I must say that Ajanta is a highly passionate and inspiring leader, and that being the reason why we have JSW E-Learning Academy has reached to such a success on date. Another point that I would definitely want to highlight is every campaign that JSW does, there is a lot of branding, that goes into place so that people are able to relate to campaigns uniquely. So these are the two things that I wanted to definitely highlight about JSW. And now I'll move on to the impact side of things. So we know that measuring the success of any training program is crucial way of proving the cost effectiveness as well as the impact on key business outcomes. So when it comes to Skillsoft, we help our clients measure the success of their programs by using a Skillsoft measurement methodology. And this methodology provides evidence that the learning programs or the key initiatives that our clients do are in fact efficiently transferring knowledge, creating that behavioral change, as well as driving measurement improvement, as well as improvement in the functional areas of the organization. Well, the tool that we created at Skillsoft is intentionally aligned to the talent development reporting principles, that is TDRP. And for the sake of this webinar, I'm going to give you some key highlights on the effectiveness part of JSW e-learning academy. So let me just open this result and show you. So, what are the key areas of JSW's impact? One that I would definitely want to highlight and start with is any initiative that a business, or an organization does, they would like to definitely link it with key business outcomes. And JSW Academy was able to influence the two key business outcomes which came out of the survey done. One was decreased risk, and the second was increased employee satisfaction. So when I see and dive deep into decreased risk as a business outcome as well as increased employee engagement or satisfaction, I can clearly say that people were able to foresee problems in future and act upon on those problems currently, and hence there was decreased risk in the business outcomes as such. The second part that I wanted to highlight is before doing the learning and after doing the learning. After doing the learning, majority of the employees mentioned that there was an increased employee engagement that they saw. They were more engaged with their work because e-learning also acts as a perquisites for employees in the organization. So that was one of the benefits, two key benefits highly influenced by JSW e-Learning Academy. Now, the second element that I would like to highlight on the impact side is relevance to current role. So alignment being very crucial to any key initiatives that organizations do. We saw that on an average, 99% employees found the content was relevant to 60% of the job roles. So if you see these results, which came from the impact survey, these stand at 60%, whereas the benchmark 2018 Skillsoft benchmark survey says on an average we have seen 50% as a benchmark. So if you see the best in class, so what I mean by benchmark is these benchmarks are based upon data from more than 30K Skillsoft learners across the globe for the year FY17. And the best in class actually represents a class that is defined as an average of result from the top 10% organizations that Skillsoft has as customers. So if you see the results, JSW results are above the benchmark for relevance to current role, and that being the reason why there is so much of positive feedback that people have provided. The next key element that I would like to highlight is the skill gain percentage. I know in many times when I speak to my clients across Mumbai and India, I see a lot of CHROs asking for real tangible impacts as such, and that also includes one of the elements of skill gain. How much of a skill gain did employees observe after doing their e-learning? So the results for JSW e-learning academy says that 99% of employees observed an average of 21% increase in skill gain. So I would say that this is an exceptional performance of JSW e-learning academy, and they have outperformed the 2018 benchmark, which is 16%. The best in class also being 20% for skill gain percentage. The next part that I would like to highlight is Skillsoft's, application rate, content application rate. So we, at Skillsoft, we are very focused on creating modules. Those are used for application on the job. Those have got good retention value so that people are able to apply on the job. So the results for JSW say that 81% of employees mentioned that they were able to apply skills gained on the job within 6 weeks. So application is one such area which most of the executives would want to know, and these are the results for JSW. And if we see the benchmark, it is 78%, and the best in class is 99%. So we have seen the application rate being 81%. However, we have also seen that there was a 2% scrap learning rate. So reducing scrap learning rate, in fact, increases our cost per user ratio as such. And in fact, scrap learning is learning that is actually consumed but not applied, which is like a waste for an organization. JSW e-learning academy results say that they stand at 2%, which is reasonably good, and the benchmark being 4%, best in class being 0.07%. And the second last thing that I would like to highlight is how many employees would, we asked employees as to would you recommend the JSW e-learning academy to a peer or a colleague. They mentioned that they are happy to recommend, and 80% was the ratio. So when you see a ratio like 80% employees would recommend JSW e-learning to a peer or a colleague, it is pure result of great alignment, the stickiness, content effectiveness, as well as people were able to apply it on the job and see benefits. And hence it stands at 80% recommendation rate. The last part that I would want to highlight is what were the top motivations for people to learn. So the key motivations that came across from the survey were deliver results in my current job role, followed by develop as a leader, and then the third most influential reason was grow into my next role in the organization. So these were very impressive, looking at the key benchmarks that industry also follows. And I hope these results are helpful for all of you to understand the impact of e-learning. I'm more than happy to hand it over to the People Matters team now to take over. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sneha. So let's move on to the Q&A section right now. We're already hearing from our audience. And our first question is from Animesh, and he asks, do we need to add financial incentives for the best learner?
So, in my perspective, the answer is no. Learning is more related to how we are recognizing the learner for his aptitude and his willingness and his learning agility. So, recognition and creating platforms, maybe like the best learner of the month, best learner of the particular location, best learner of the business, is enough recognition and motivation. So, yeah, as a principle, I don't think we need to add any monetary or financial incentive.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so I think one of the challenges that we spoke about a little earlier was about change management, right? About how you had to get some of your colleagues, especially working in a factory setup, right? That you had to teach them how to engage in digital learning. Could you talk about that? About all the steps that you took to bring about that change management?
Right. So when we first launched, Skillsoft or Harvard Management or our e-learning platform within JSW, one of the expectation was that since we are doing it the first time, there will be a surge of learners coming onto the platform. But the answer is no. So there was no surge, and people didn't say, "Oh my God, we were waiting for this for our lives." So then we had to think differently, and there were two things which played on our mind. Is one is, are people aware of what the offering is all about? So most of the time we hear the names, but unless and until we go deep dive into it, we really don't realize what that platform has to offer. So we started doing a lot of communication on what kind of learning offerings are there from the senior management team. So we held session with them by saying, brought them in the room. We kind of put our step in when they were having HOD meetings for business and say, give us half an hour of time. We want to talk about the online learning platform which we have created. So the journey started from there, got the senior leadership awareness on what the e-learning offerings are, and so that they can talk about it to their team members. The other thing which we did on the first year of our journey, in our performance management platform, we made 3 e-learning course as mandatory for all employees. So when they are choosing what would be my development focus for year next, while they had the whole area to choose from, we also said that you need to choose 3 e-learnings, and that also made something, especially at the plant location, who are very, very compliance focused, to drive the e-learning. And then people went there, okay, I have to complete 3, but that was the first step of creating awareness. This year we are not doing that because the awareness level is already there. So these are the couple of things I remember, other than the other promotions which we did. But buy-in at the senior leadership, making them aware what this consists of, and having some small compliance depending upon what is the aptitude of learner. And this may vary from business to business and from industry to industry.
Right.
So the next question is whether the group was involved or only steel business.
No, it was for the group. So we had energy, infrastructure, and that's a good question. While steel has the maximum employee strength, but this was something rolled out for the entire group. Energy, infrastructure, cement, and the
Paints, new
adoption.
business.
Yeah, adoption which you see is actually for JSW Group. The effectiveness which Snehal presented is also for JSW Group, and all the interventions which we did is for JSW Group.
Then the next question
Great.
is there any
Fantastic.
pre and post learning assessment done?
So our next question is from, yeah, great.
Yeah, so I'll mention here our Girls Wanna Learn program. So as I've mentioned that we had conducted a development center for women group, and for that cohort, basis the findings of that, the development center, we have created that learning habit calendar for women employees. And after the completion of the program, we had launched a micro survey wherein we had asked women on their feedback and how they have experienced the whole transformation thing. So yes, there is pre and post learning assessment that we are doing, and also we got insights from Snehal, which she had shared from the effectiveness survey. And from employee engagement is also one data point that the positive perceptions has increased. Then yeah, the next question.
Shall we move on?
Okay.
Jerry, would you like to mention the next
Yeah,
question?
yeah, yeah. I think the next question is from Adiba, who asks, "What kind of skills you observed people wanted to learn the most? Did they align more towards their job roles or their future career aspirations?"
Okay, I think so. There are two perspective to this. One is as there are certain courses which is always popular, things like financial acumen, things to do with business strategy. But whenever there is a performance management cycle comes in, there's a lot of surge in giving feedback, how to receive feedback, how to manage expectations. So while there would be certain consistent courses where there's a lot of ask, however, and then there will be courses which, depending on what cycle they are, and as I mentioned, communication skills remains a top favorite. Personal effectiveness courses like time management and presentation skills is again one of the top favorites.
Right.
And do they align more with their
So,
job role or with future career aspiration? I think the answer is both. As Snehal mentioned in her data point, that these are the two main primary motivators for people go logging onto the platform and taking the courses.
yeah, right. So, our next question is from Rima, and she wants to know what behavioral skills are part of this e learning academy.
So we had, I was talking about this initiative Skills 2020. So basis the findings of World Economic Forum, we had identified 10 skills last year, which are relevant for new age learners to learn and practice. So yes, we have identified behavioral skills for last year, for
So
2020.
And along with that, we have our potential behaviors for JSW, and we link our courses internally to those potential behaviors, and which is aligned to knowing your business, knowing yourself, and knowing your team, and we align those courses on those, and then kind of have our communication around.
Yeah, yeah.
So great.
Falguni, is there any?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. So, Snehal, are these behavioral skills most popular even amongst your other clients, or do you see any shift? The World Economic Forum skills are the most in demand skills.
Yeah, actually, because whenever I meet my clients and we are planning for any rollouts or sessions, e-learning programs as such, what I have normally seen is there is a lot of recommendations that come in as to what is required in future, and people want to be future ready. So in that situation, we actually came up with this Skills 2020 program, and all of the most of the skills of content maps to these 10 skills. And what we thought is, because people would really be able to relate to what future skills they require, they'll be able to even develop on those skills. And these were very skills those were generic to any business. It does not mark across only a specific industry as such. So what we thought is suggesting these type of initiatives will get more buy-in from even the employees, And it all depends in the way it is rolled out as well. So JSW did a excellent job in terms of rolling out these skills, and I have seen across all clients, out of if I have 60% of my clients did do a skills 2020 program in one way or the other in last 2 years.
And to add on to what Snehal was mentioning, I still remember we launched the Skills 2020 last year, and we had our group president HR sending out that email to all employees. So we have the function heads and the leadership team completely aligned to the e-learning courses which we are asking our employees to do.
Yeah, fantastic. So our next question is from Suzanne. I think her question is specific to one of the initiatives that you ran on Girls Want to Learn. Is it mandatory for all women, and how did you get the women excited for this?
So yeah, it was not mandatory. We have created this initiative, and we did a lot of campaigning and branding. We branded this initiative, and women, it was quite a pull factor. Women on their own, they had completed these courses which were specifically for them, and some women who had, so the idea, the genesis of this Girls Wanna Learn initiative was one batch or one group of women had gone to the I Am Bangalore program, and they because of their, they were participants of our women leadership development program, and balanced women who couldn't learn from that program at I Am Bangalore, we had extended this e-learning courses to women, and they were really super excited about this. And it was not mandatory; it was on its own, and we got 90% adoption, and 10 to 12 courses were completed by women across JSW group.
Yeah, and to Falguni's point, this was an initiative to the larger ecosystem which we were building. And hence, it was more of a pull than a push.
Right. Fantastic. So, could you also talk about this innovation piece? You referred to this in your presentation that just doing the initiatives, it's not enough. You will have to innovate in between. You have to think about the promotion and so on to drive that engagement. How often do you think about this, and do you have a process in place for it? And what all are things you do to innovate?
So I guess that's more of a team effort. My push is how many elements of the offering we are using continuously, and continuous data check, utilization check. If there is a dip, why there is a dip. If there is a surge in the learners' utilization, then is there something working or something happening in the employee life cycle or in the business life cycle. So doing a deep data study and then coming up with the innovation bit at that point of time, like skills 2020 was something became very relevant to us because there was a lot of internal communication on how we are increasing the productivity and the production at each of our steel plants. And then we said, if you want to map to the business outcomes, then these are the skills that you need. It was also mapped to the digitization effort, which JSW has taken up as a group. So everything that we do, the innovation come as a result of the deep data analysis and the link to the business. And at the end of the day, I think it is the acumen of the learning and development team on how we want to drive it. At times we take the serious tone by saying that 3 courses in a year is mandatory. Then we adapt to the Nukkar Natak and think that this can be fun if you are doing it the right way.
Right. Fantastic. Were there also technical courses and technical modules? Gaurang asks.
So from Skillsoft, we have our the Microsoft Office courses, which is more on IT kind of thing. But for a steel technology, we have tie up with Steel University, which is again a global body, and they have lots of online courses and online simulation on steel making. And there our innovation is on Steel 101 courses, and we have weekly communication around that. So, to
Okay.
answer your question, yes, we do.
Yeah. Great. There's a question for Snehal. The question is about future readiness. The skills requirements are changing almost rapidly every year. So, how does Skillsoft stay updated and future ready in terms of building content? This is a question from Adipa.
Hi, Adiva. Thank you. Excellent question. I would like to start saying that Skillsoft has always focused on content development and making content that is more recent and current, available to its clients. So what Skillsoft does is we have our own product development team, and they are always on lookout for what is that is changing in the market rapidly. It's not only every year. I would say that our business skills portfolio has completely changed in last 1.5 year, with different kind of content treatments as well. It just does not limit to even video treatments. To look at the retention rate as well, we develop our content in such a way so that people are able to grasp and apply what they learned. So when it comes to content, we are always in the run of releasing new courses to the latest topics that are most in demand by even our clients. We have got a client forum where we take feedback on regular basis. One such example that I would like to give is PMBOK launched its sixth edition last year, and within a month of time, within a month, Skillsoft already had the portfolio ready for the PMBOK sixth edition as such. So that's just an example that I would like to highlight as our content readiness and to be the market leader in e-learning. I hope that helps, Adiba.
Sure, I hope so too. So I think there's another question on the challenges for blue collar workforce. Is there someone want to take this up? What are the challenges on a 2020 scale for the blue collar workforce?
So, in JSW context, so the e-learning courses we have gone out and made it for the executive workforce, which is more of a certain level and above. The reason being, the English language comprehension for our blue-collared workforce in the plant location is skewed. So the competency level there. So we are working on building that competency first, the computer literacy competency, and then moving on to giving them the access. So at this point of time, we are concentrating, especially on the online learning, on executive level, which is again almost around 12,000 people in JSW context. And but a very, very good question for the blue collar workforce. We do something called Project Lakshya, where everything that I'm talking about getting their competence level high, so that move on to the next level of role is an effort in itself. But thank you for that question.
Great, fantastic. So thanks to our audience as well for the steady stream of questions. So with that question answer, it's a wrap. And we have many more questions coming in. I'd request the speakers to take them offline. We'd like to thank our partner Skillsoft and our speakers Ajanta, Falguni, and Snehal for sharing their invaluable information and time with us here today. So you can also provide our feedback on a survey link that will be on your chat section. Your input matters to us. So stay tuned for more such exciting session. And that concludes today's webcast. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy learning.